Okay, so I put all of my things up first, just because really quickly before my actual speech, I wanted to explain some things. My family's been involved in the military basically since, well, Charlemagne, essentially, and my family's really into his story and stuff. But anyway, this was my grandpa. He was one of the first people to go down in World War II to do salvaging, and he was actually involved in 4 U.S. conflicts / wars / whatever you want to call them. This is him in one of the copper diving helmets. That's one of the planes he brought out of 142 feet of water at Lake Washington. And this was him suiting up one of his shipmates. And then up there, it's kind of hard to see, but they're all covered in about 6 inches worth of grease. And until the day my grandpa died, he was covered in 6 inches of grease. All right. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Not to steal lines from Goodfellas, but it just kind of had to do with how I was brought up. My family is old money, old history back in Ireland. And actually, I was born in Ireland. My parents decided for whatever reason that America would be better, and I'm not really sure why. So we moved here to San Diego, and there were no other Irish kids anywhere around me. I had a lisp, and I had an accent when I was a little kid. And no one understood me, so I started lying. And I am a compulsive liar, although I'm much better now, so I'm not going to lie. And I used to wish every single day that I could just basically join some gang and travel far off to Chicago, which is where my grandpa lived, which has a heavy, heavy population of Irish people. My wish was somewhat granted, and we moved to New Mexico when I was about 4 or 5. We lived on a reservation because my family belongs to what's called the White Potato Clan, which is as funny as it sounds. It's basically Irish people with Indian blood. And people understood me, and they understood my accent, and they hated me for it. Because, of course, no one wants to be the white kid in a bunch of Indians, even though you have the blood percentage. They just kind of see you as the encroacher, which I understand. But I started lying because I wanted to distance myself from people. So I started telling stories, and people liked the stories, and it wasn't until later on that I realized that my actual life was more interesting than the lies I told. And so we moved back to San Diego because my dad hated the desert, and he wanted to come back to the ocean. And when I moved back, I was basically stuck in the back of all of my classes because my teachers couldn't understand the word I was saying. And I just read, and I read, and I read, and I just kept wanting to be a gangster. Well, in New Mexico, I had kind of fallen in with a bad group of kids, and because the res was sovereign, we could do pretty much anything that wasn't a felony, and we could get away with it, because you just got to run back over the line of the res, and you can't be touched by the town cops. And I was a really, really bad kid until this psychotic little horse came into my life. And I've always been involved with horses, and she had been badly abused, her ears twisted, her kicked, beaten with her own stuff. She just didn't want to be anywhere near people. So I rehabilitated her, I trained her, and she became one of my best friends. And it essentially just, I stopped lying, I stopped really caring, and I calmed down greatly. And then I had to have major reconstructive surgery because I have a cleft lip and palate, and I had to sell her because I couldn't do horses anymore. Well, that kind of set me back, and I started lying again, and it wasn't until my grandpa called me out of the blue one day and told me, hop along, because it was an old TV star, Hop Along Cassidy, and he would call me Hop Along. He goes, hop along, you got to stop lying to the wrong people. Start lying to the right ones. So I don't know what clicked in me, but I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, because you can lie and you can get paid for it. And so I got a job at the prison down by the border, and I started working on the cases for the lifer inmates. I served papers to Charlie Manson up in Corcoran. It was really fun. And it cemented in me the importance of not lying, being who I am, not caring what people thought, and also that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is I just want to basically reconstruct the prison system and make it more about rehabilitation than locking people behind bars. So, that's me. Fuck. What? Just one of the Oneonta in the middle of the desert. Yeah.
they migrated basically to Boston and some of those areas. Did you guys go straight to?
My grandpa went to Chicago because my family is a little bit involved in the seedy parts of here because that was the way they made money. And then my dad was left back in Ireland because my grandpa had actually left our family. And he just woke up one day and decided that he wanted to move to San Diego because he wanted sandy beaches and sunshine. Don't tell him that.
Strengths of a presentation.
Nothing. Don't talk.
That was a really awesome theme. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Very in depth. Very in depth.
Thanks.
A lot of clarity on your history and family and everything. Everything's very concise.
Your 3 points connected very well to
Is your hand up or are you just resting? Okay.
and a building point, something that makes Cass's future presentation even more effective.
Slow down. Don't shake.
Probably slow down. Sorry. Slow down just a little bit.
Yeah.
The way you breathe, kind of like me, I could hear you not like breathe all the way out.
Yeah, part of it is I actually can't breathe through my nose, so I'm a mouth breather. So when I start talking, it gets even harder and I start hyperventilating. Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Nothing else? Can I go now?
Why is it that you have to give up your course? Is that to help pay for surgery or?
No, basically I was told I would never be able to ride again because I had to have both of my jaws broken, sawed off, and reattached. And so I was thrown quite a bit from my horse, and my doctor looked at it and said, oh, no, you're not getting back on. So that's why I had. Okay, can I go now? I'm going now.
So, Monday speakers, you're off the hook for the analysis paper. Today's speakers, however, check it out. I'm going to try to get them up today. Most of them by tomorrow. They will be on.